All right, this one's gonna be simple and should be quick. A couple things. I wasn't gonna comment on the Evan Neal thing. My channel has mainly been about video games and wrestling, that sort of that ilk. But if you look at the channel and playlist, there have been videos that I've made where I have talked about sports, and I do like pro sports. I like wrestling, and I like MMA. So I just focused. I try to keep the channel away from economics, politics, and in some cases, I try to keep it away from what's going on in the world of sports and try to focus on video games. With that being said, the Evan Neal thing touches on economics, somewhat politics, and certainly is relevant to fans and people, whether you're in the New York, New Jersey area or not. So let me just make this very simple, okay? Today, October the 6th, at about 8:30 in the morning, I went ahead and Googled Evan Neal Giants, okay? Because I was curious, a couple of days later, what would still be the headlines, right? And here are the top three things that come up on Google's algorithm, right? Evan Neal, ill-advised rant, first sign of pressure engulfing reeling Giants. Saquon Barkley Giants veterans weigh in on Evan Neal. You're never going to win, blasting the fans. And lastly, from ESPN on MSNBC or MSN.com, I should say, Brian Dayball, Giants moving on from Evan Neal's poor comments. Okay, so here's where everybody is missing the boat. All right, and I have to critique. I have to give credit to ESPN Radio, Don LaGreca. Okay, huge credit to Don LaGreca because Don LaGreca captured the emotion of the fan. And if you haven't heard his rant about Evan Neal's comments, you need to hear it, okay? Because he captures the emotion. And everybody else is missing it. Missing it. And let me explain why. All right? Very simple. The first thing, Evan Neal's ill-advised rant, first sign of pressure engulfing really Giants. No, it's not about the pressure engulfing the Giants, okay? The Bears were 0-4 going into yesterday's game. You didn't hear them having these issues. You didn't hear about them insulting the fans. This is a different problem. This is a problem that we have with pro athletes in the world, but specifically in the United States. You get a bunch of guys, some of whom have never had anything, and as soon as they have a little something, right? They were catered when they played AAU sports. They were catered when they were in college, and they were catered. They get catered to in the NFL, right? They walk into a job where breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner is made for them. They have unlimited resources. They have trainers. They have doctors. They have health coaches. They have places to rest. And when they have to travel for work, it's all taken care of, literally. They probably don't even carry their own damn bags. So the problem is you get treated like royalty, you get treated with special circumstances, and as soon as that happens, you forget what it's like to just be a regular person in society. So this has nothing to do with just the Giants. Oh, they're experiencing pressure because they lost the. Yeah, Evan Neal plays like crap. The offensive line was trash on Monday night. He gave up 11 sacks. You couldn't have been any worse. But that's not the issue. The issue is the mentality of the modern athlete and the fact that they make so much money and they have these expensive operations that take care of them so they can't relate to regular people. Okay? That's why Evan Neal said, oh, why would a lion concern himself with the, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me, why would the lion worry himself with the thoughts of a sheep? What do these people do anyway, right? Flip hamburgers, flip hot dogs for a living? It's the same thing as when LeBron James made the comment saying when he lost to the NBA Finals to the Dallas Mavericks, and he turns around and goes, well, these people, they'll have the same old miserable life tomorrow. It's that same mentality. If you ever meet somebody, and I don't know about politicians because a lot of them come from nothing and then magically become rich after they get out of office or while they're in office, right? So that's a different story. But if you ever meet somebody who has had a lot of money, right? And I was fortunate enough to be around some people growing up who really had a lot of money, and you wouldn't know it. Why? Because they're raised right, they're humble, they don't brag about what they have, and they certainly don't insult people in service industries. Now, Evan Neal makes those comments, right? Now he has to walk into the Giants facility where people are flipping hamburgers and hot dogs for his fat ass, and what happens? Does he apologize to them too? I'm sure Brian Daboll wishes that he would, right? Or maybe he just wants to move on, right? Oh, we're moving on from his poor comments. No, Brian. Instead of moving on, you should say, you know what? He played like garbage. Then he insulted the fans at a personal level, mocking their socioeconomic situation. I'm benching him until further notice. That is how you move on, Brian. I have said from last year, I said Brian Daboll is the best coach of the NFL. I thought he and Joe Shane the best tandem. I'm not bailing on their coaching and general manager abilities, but I'm gonna bail on their attitude and the way they've handled Evan Neal. It has been piss poor at best. You want to make a statement to the fans that are starting to hate you very quickly? You need to say, this guy doesn't represent us. He plays like garbage anyway. I'm sitting his ass down until further notice. That is how you move on from the situation. Telling the media, basically, I'm not going to talk about it. Moving on. You can move on all you want. What about the rest of us who are out here? What about the guy who is flipping the hamburger? Is he supposed to move on and serve you? Serve your family? Serve Evan Neal's family? Should he move on? Don't tell us when to move on. We'll tell you when to move on. We'll tell you to pack your damn bags and get the hell out of here. Don't tell us anything. And Saquon Barkley, oh, you're never going to win. You're never going to win blasting the fans. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And that was the commentary that I heard on the fan. Oh, on WFAN New York, and not from everybody, but just from, specifically I have to call out Evan Roberts and Tiki Barber. Absolute garbage handling. You want to learn how to relate to the fan in your area, but by the moniker of your station, The Fan, you should listen to ESPN Radio. You should listen to Don LaGreca. That's how you react to that situation. These guys like, oh, you're never going to win attacking the fan. Yeah, of course you're not. But that's not the issue. The issue is not whether you would win or lose. The issue is the fact that that's even in your heart and that's even in your mind, and the fact that you would say that, and the fact that that is how a lot of these people think. That's the problem. That they have no respect for the people around them. They're quickly microwave, ready-made, wealthy, and treated like royalty while they're in the league. And that is the problem. That's the problem. The problem is not that, oh, you're not going to win the PR battle. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. But how about the problem that he's saying it anyway? Because when I hear you're never going to win blasting the fans, what I hear is, yeah, don't say the quiet part out loud. That's what we think in the locker room. That's what we think in the front office. We're laughing at the fans when we drive our Lamborghinis out of the stadium after losing 40-0 to Dallas. But don't say anything about how these guys work in insurance. That guy makes a sandwich for a living. That guy digs a ditch. Don't mock them for it. We'll laugh at them in private. That's the problem. And I expect the Mara and the Tisch family to step in and do something about it. That's a freaking joke. That's the freaking joke. And let me call out somebody specifically right now. And I'm going to tweet this at their program so they can listen to it or not. But I'm going to call out somebody who's really been pissing me off for a long time. And that's Tiki Barber. Yeah, Tiki Barber. The worst take of them all was Tiki Barber. Per usual, Mr. I'm offended by Joe Beningo's microaggression against me by saying that, oh, I don't know anything because I watch the games and I call the games and I watched it because I don't. Dude, Tiki Barber, you talk about someone who doesn't belong on a sports radio station in this area. This guy ended his career in New York the absolute worst way possible. He has all this perspective. Where was his perspective on Eli Manning, a guy who he stood behind for 4 years? Where was his perspective on Tom Coughlin, a guy who he worked with for 4 years? No, zero, actually. Zero perspective. Zero. This guy was absolute garbage the way he left. He was a good player, but he left in the worst way possible, and he turned out to be completely wrong about the coach and the quarterback. But now I have to sit there and kowtow to him, and Joe Beningo has to kowtow to him, even though Joe Beningo has watched more games than Tiki Barber will ever watch on the All 22. Ever. This guy's not qualified to talk about baseball, hockey, basketball, MMA, anything. He spent most of his career playing running back, and that's it. And now he's this expert. Now, he was a superstar at NBC. That's why they let him go, right? Because he was a superstar. And now he's on the Fan, and he is the first guy to do the stereotype thing of the former. Oh, I actually played the game. That's his little excuse. I actually played the game. So here's his take on Evan Neal, why he was so offended. Because Evan Neal, quote unquote, lumped him in with everybody. That is why he was offended. Not that you're mocking people's socioeconomic situation. Not that you're sitting there playing like garbage with no credibility, mocking the fans, telling them to boo more. No. You're upset because Evan Neal put you in a category with me. Because Evan Neal put you in a category with Joe Beningo. That's what bothered Tiki Barber. Tiki was upset that he was lumped in with everybody else because he's this grand wizard expert in the media and a former player who watches the All 22 film and all this and that. Oh my God. That's why he's upset? You know what, bro? You want to be a good broadcaster? You want to be good at your job? Listen to Don LaGreca's reaction to this same situation and understand the perspective. This guy literally pulls the same garbage on everybody that Evan Neal just pulled on him. He says it all the time. Oh, I know because I watched the film, because I'm a former athlete. He disqualifies everybody else when he throws his hissy fits. Well, that's what Evan Neal is doing. He's saying that nobody knows anything if they flip burgers for a living because they didn't play the game. And by the way, there are people who flip burgers for a living who played high school, college football, and maybe even pro football. Not everybody is blessed to stay healthy and be able to play at the NFL. Okay? So, Tiki Barber, your take on this was garbage. Garbage. You do the same damn thing that he did. You just don't talk about their money. You just don't talk about their job. But you do the same thing. You're always pulling that card. And hey, maybe I should be light on you because that's the only card you have. You don't have any other expertise. You don't have anything else to say. Your takes on everything suck. You sit there with your obnoxious goof smile, with your big dome head, and all you do is talk about how, oh, well, I'm the former athlete, and your little nerdy broadcast partner, your little dweeb over there, Evan Roberts, who can't even hold half of Joe Beningo's jock strap. That guy's going to sit there and he's going to kiss your ass and tell you how right you are. He's not going to remind you to have some damn perspective. Absolute joke. Evan Neal, you could go to hell. As far as everybody else's take, you're all missing the boat. The problem with this guy is that he's saying the quiet part out loud. This is how these people feel. And as a fan, you have to compartmentalize everything. You have to sit there and say, I have to take out my dislike for the people playing the game and keep my liking for the game and for the teams. That's why you root for the uniform, and that's why you root for the sport and you enjoy the game. Because if you think about how these people are and how they behave, you'll be disgusted. You won't want to watch any sports. That's it. It ruins it. And the one thing the NFL can't have, or any league can have, or the two things I should say, one, they have to have credibility, meaning they have to have the fans know that it's on the up and up. If the fans think it's rigged, if the fans think that the betting is rigged or they think that the games are fixed, like in the NBA, how people accuse the refs of fixing the games for the league, right? If people believe that, it's over. It's no longer a sport, it's now WWE. But the other thing that the leagues cannot afford to have is for the fans to be personally insulted by the athletes. Because if they sit there and think, man, I don't make as much money as these guys, and they really dislike me and look down on me, do I really want to spend money to go watch them play? Do I really want to give ratings to watch them play? I kind of don't like them as people. They disgust me. So why am I going to support them? These leagues can't afford that. That is the takeaway from this. That should be the focus on this. The attack on the socioeconomic situation of regular fans. That should be the focus. Not, oh, you're never going to win by blasting the fans. Of course not. But that's really a commentary on your concern for winning the PR battle, which is phony. Oh, we're moving on from Evan Neal's comments. Oh, of course you're going to move on because you're not going to do anything about it. Oh, it's about the pressure engulfing the reeling Giants. No, it's not about the pressure. Teams lose games all the time. This is what he really believes when he was asked about how he felt getting booed. By the way, the fans booed them all. He wasn't singled out in the boos. So his comments are unnecessary because it was about the team, not just about him, even though he was garbage. And Tiki Barber, oh, I'm so sorry you got lumped in with the rest of us. I am so sorry that you got lumped in with the fans and you got lumped in with the media and you got lumped in with us non-experts, air quote. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Next time, we'll set up a separate set of insults for you. Okay? I'll send him some notes. We got plenty. And now I'm going to go back to doing what I do, which is trying to have fun here in the corner arcade. Thank you.